playing this game and doing this live stream in support of the Humble Bundle that's going on right now, which has all of the Myst series games for sale that are available to buy today for a mere $20, people. It's a pretty good deal, and you can choose how much of your purchase goes to charity. And the charity's Active Minds. They support suicide prevention and awareness, as well as mental health resources for young adults. So we'd really appreciate your support. They'd really appreciate your support, and you get to play our games.
Yep. And if you've never seen the game we're about to play, it comes in the bundle if you get the bundle, and probably turn the stream off because we don't want to spoil anything. But you know, no, we're not going to get that far into it. So
yeah. Also, as a caveat, we can't hear the game, so we've turned on subtitles. You all should be able to hear the game. But if anyone's like, oh my god, where did that sound come from? We'll have no idea what you're talking about. Are we
streaming game audio? I feel like the game audio wasn't streamed last time around.
We are streaming game audio this time. That's one of the pieces of duct tape that I added since last time.
We got more duct tape, everybody.
We've got audio, everybody.
Put that in the budget.
Cool. So come along with us on this ride. This is, again, Obduction with an O. And yeah, shall we get started?
Yes, please.
Okay.
You're driving, though.
Okay. Ooh. Hold on. Hold on, everybody. Yeah. Gamepad sensitivity. I hope everyone enjoyed that sound I just made.
We should add those to the actual UI.
So let's just kick things right off with a question from our friend Riam Plus, who asks, "Hi Hannah and Eric. A question not enough people ask you. How are you today?"
Oh, thank you, Riams.
That's so nice, Riam. Thank you.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I had 2 burgers for lunch made by Eric.
And we made burgers for Friday lunch. I burned myself on the grill.
He did burn himself on the grill.
That's my excuse for not running the controller. I can't. I have an injury.
But yeah, it's a pretty good day. Actually, technically, I ate 1.5 burgers. The other half I stared at in my dish because I couldn't finish it. So, yeah, they're delicious though.
I was told they were good burgers. I only had one. They popular.
They are popular.
How are you doing, Riam?
Yeah, how's Riam doing?
We'll find out in about 10 minutes when the delay catches up. I expect a report back on how Riam's doing.
10 minutes. Imagine a 10-minute chat delay.
So this one's for Eric. Angela says hi.
Oh, hello, Angela. I love you. Assuming you're that Angela.
Oh, actually, can we talk about this? Eric and I are not husband and wife people. Like, this is just an aside. Just because we're both, like, here and wearing wedding rings does not mean we are married. Angela is Eric's wife. So please acknowledge Angela as Eric's wife,
and your wife
not me.
Is at home?
My wife is not present. She's at home.
We get that at conferences all the time.
We do, yeah.
It's hilarious.
I should tell a story to everybody here who, yeah, I don't think anyone but just Cyan people know this. One time, Eric and I went to a conference, and we were entering the hotel and checking in to separate rooms, by the way, and we were asked at the desk if we'd like conjoined rooms, and I said absolutely not.
You've never answered a question quicker in your life.
Yeah.
Obduction.
Wow, look at that
We
lens
should probably
flare.
be talking about the game we're playing instead of just telling goofy stories, although that's more fun.
Yeah. What do people want? More goofy stories or me getting a better angle on this lens?
Oh, I have to pass this one on. This is from our friend Matthew Saunders, who says, "Eric and Hannah don't even look like they're married, LOL. Eric looks like he could be her dad."
I could.
Oh,
I could.
God.
Shots fired. Shots fired, people.
No.
Shots fired.
You know, you probably could be.
I could.
You probably could be. It would have been a hard life for you. But
I'd have been 17 years old. It would have been. You would have had an awful.
What? You're 47.
Childhood.
I thought you're 45.
Not as of a couple days ago.
Wait,
last
sorry.
week or
So you
whatever.
aged 2 years.
Yeah, this was a double. This was a double year. Yeah, no, this was 47 for me. And you're like 14, 15 now.
I'm 15 now.
Never gets old.
Oh my god. Okay, so you guys are just attracting all the trolls.
Oh, no.
Bring it.
Some guy named Rand Miller
Oh.
asks,
Boot
any
him.
news of the Book of Miriam?
Dropped and blocked.
Oh God. Should I be like Rand and say
Yeah.
soon? Actually, I heard Rand say that it'd be ready tomorrow. Right, Rand?
I heard that he's also going to write a sequel to that when
Yeah.
he's done with it.
With George R.R. Martin.
And he's going to have it done next month.
Yeah. This is
So
a joke,
that's
by
what
the
I
way. This is a
heard.
joke.
Do we have a legitimate update? I mean, is that actually Rand or is that someone posing as Rand?
No, that's actually Rand.
He's just trolling?
He's just trolling.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
you know,
Ni hao.
it's okay.
Welcome to Hunrad. My name is Joseph. I am the mayor.
Do we want to,
here.
like, Rand and I talked
You
about this
are
last time
most
we played this
probably a
game,
bit
but people are
confused and
constantly asking us,
disoriented.
why
But
don't
let
you
me
guys
reassure
do
you,
video
everything will be
in
fine.
anymore?
You're not
Why don't
the
you do
first
video
to
in your
go
game,
through
in your
this
VR games?
experience.
It would be really cool
The
to have
others
video
who
in
have
VR.
come before
What do you
you
say to
will
that
help
question?
you adjust. Follow the
It's
trail
complicated.
to the house with the white
Sure is.
Abduction was kind of different because you never
and
were
introduce you to your new
able
life
to,
here.
like, this is a hologram. It's supposed to be like a projection, right? This isn't a person who is supposed to look like they're physically standing there
We-
or interacting with
We have
you.
a couple of those in the game, and they were very difficult to do.
Well, the only one in Abduction is, I guess you'd say
Well, we
CW
can go-
is
we
the
can
only
go- we can go see him. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
projection, but he's behind a door for a reason.
Yes.
Like, you can't see the lower half of his body, people.
But people, a lot of the time, people will ask us,
Yeah.
you know, you know, got to be careful here. In Myst, I'll use Myst as an example. Why not have? Wouldn't it be cool to have Atris at the end of the game when you arrive in Dunny? Have Atris be video? Why didn't we do that? It's like, well, because the player can control where the camera is.
Right, exactly.
And as soon as you introduce any player control of camera, you can no longer have stereoscopic video in VR, or even even if it were not VR, just a 2D game. How do you control for that? And sure, there are
Yeah,
R&D like volumetric video technology and stuff,
right.
but
But
that's-
guys, we're
yeah.
cheap as hell. We're a small studio. We
We're-
don't
yeah.
have like hundreds of millions of dollars to spend time doing R&D on this stuff.
Right,
so,
or hiring
yeah.
a company that specializes. It's like, well, that's just a bigger production than we're prepared to do. So.
Yeah.
That said, like if for future stuff, if we had a game that we could lock the camera down and do predictable camera angles and stuff, I wouldn't rule out doing live video.
No,
Not at
and
all.
I suspect that might be with what Seventh Guest is doing for their VR remake, but
They're
haven't-
doing volumetric video stuff.
interesting. That's really cool stuff.
Yep.
So,
Oh, Farley. Rand calls this the "Help Me Obi-Wan" speech.
So it'll come as no surprise that we got a bunch of abduction questions, considering that's what we're playing today. Thomas G. 86 asks, what was the most challenging area in Abduction to create? And you guys might have different answers coming from two different disciplines.
Yeah, I know my answer.
I know my answer.
Should we say them at the same time? No.
Yeah, wait, ready?
It's Hunrath.
Yeah.
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 I mean, we're in it, and the reason is we didn't. Okay, I'll just be super blunt. Like when we did Abduction, we didn't really know what we were doing in terms of optimizing and making things easy on ourselves. So the sight lines were designed kind of without consideration to what they were blocking. In fact, I believe the cliff side here, this used to not be here. If you could imagine this as an open prairie and the building was the end of the sight line here, and we had to add it because you couldn't draw all of that efficiently. And then there's even a worse spot when we get up to the top of the Buckavator here.
The Buckavator.
The water vader, I forget what we call that thing. because you can see all the way across the entire map. And we've since learned quite a lot more about good ways to optimize, and we also learned that if maybe you put a little bit of thought into things like sight lines before you go and build a bunch of stuff, you're better off. So is that kind of the same reason for you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. In particular, I also remember being in the junkyard in Hunrath, which we'll probably see in this playthrough briefly, and having the view of a lot of Hunrath as a result. That was a very tough sightline,
Yeah.
especially because there are so many objects in the junkyard.
Artistically, I'm gonna say actually the I don't know the names. What's the jungle age?
Murray.
Murray, thank you. It was called
Swamp.
Swamp the whole time we developed this. In my head, the ages are still Swamp, Chain, and I guess Soria.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're called real actual things in the game. And the reason I say that Murray was the most difficult is just the foliage. There's just so many trees and stuff. Again, it kind of boils down to an optimization problem. I want some more abduction questions.
All right.
I don't want to hear any other questions about anything, people.
Wow.
Only. I'm just kidding.
You are going to be so
Yeah.
disappointed.
I want more people to ask us how we actually are, like Riam. Thanks, Riam.
Here's a question from Parker. Are you considering future projects connected to the Obduction IP? I'm not limiting it to form of other games of the same type, but to anything that might build off of or within the lore of Obduction.
Not actively at current, but honestly, the thought has crossed my mind before. I'll wait until C Dubs here is done with his little.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have pressed the button.
No, you're fine.
Who the devil
Yeah.
are you?
So speaking of live action in games, like, can you strafe around a little bit?
You want me to get the like?
Yeah, I want you to make it look as bad as it can possibly look.
This is probably one of the worst because you can see the like edge kind of cut a little bit right there on the corner.
This is the live stream where we make our games look as bad as possible.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this barrel was strategically placed to prevent people from seeing an even worse.
I believe it was, yeah. Because in VR, I should also state, we film these with two cameras to simulate stereoscopic vision. So if you're playing in VR, you actually do sense some depth, but what you don't get is that like parallax offset. If you look at him from the side, he is clearly, like a flat plane. And obviously the holograms, we do a view-facing thing where they turn to face the viewer.
Yeah, you can kind of see how his body like rotates a little bit.
I don't think he's rotating at all.
I think he is. Like you can see it getting a little distorted with the angle that you're viewing him.
I think you might be seeing some of the refraction through the glass. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
you
though.
think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm fairly
Okay.
certain he's just a static card.
Okay.
Bye-bye, CW.
So he just told us to, I think, get the power on, right? I think that's
Yes.
the instruction he gave us.
But to go back to that question, I would love to explore the abduction universe a little more. Don't know what that would mean. I think that there's things that we did gameplay-wise that I think were cool, and that I think we could do more with. I would love to explore the puzzle ideas, some of the ones we had to leave on the wayside just because of the complexity of the game. We're better developers now than we were when we did this. So I think we could do some cooler stuff.
Mm-hmm. Time is it? Oh, it's been 15 minutes. I should shout out why we're here again. We are here for the Humble Bundle that's actively going on, and that is a Humble Bundle for all of the Myst games plus Obduction, and you can get all of them for $20 and dedicate as much as you'd like of that purchase toward Active Minds, which is a charity supporting the mental health of young adults.
It's a good deal.
Link in the chat.
No, not link in the chat, but
Okay.
link in the description below.
Link in the description,
Link in the description
below.
That's right.
There we go. Smash that like
If,
button.
if you haven't heard, that also includes that at the $20 level. That includes the brand new rebuild of Myst that we just
Yes.
released a couple years ago. Which, if you haven't checked that out or you haven't even heard of it, please do. In fact, check out the live stream that Rand and I did earlier this week if you want to see what that game looks like.
Indeed.
Somebody decided to stay anonymous on this, but they asked, Obduction scoped down late in development due to last-minute publisher pulling out. The game as released is great, but we're all super interested in what was last to be cut. More puzzles?
Yeah, just to correct that a little bit. Trying to think. The publisher pulling out comment is the one I feel like I don't know if that's necessarily 100% the case. I think it was just we needed to get the game out. We were in talks with folks, but I wouldn't necessarily blame anybody for things getting cut. The biggest thing was probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably also the obvious thing, which is Soria scoped down to be a lot, just like no puzzle friction at all in Soria, right? It's just a walking path. I think the biggest thing that got cut was puzzle friction there and a bigger area to explore.
Yeah. I think, didn't some of Murray get cut a little bit too? Does that sound familiar?
A big chunks of I have to think of the name. What's chain? Kaptar?
Captar.
Kaptar. There's puzzles in Kaptar that we had to cut that we actually used a little bit in some of the puzzle ideation for Firmament. But we had prototyped a bunch of other puzzles and ended up cutting it because we had enough complexity as it was. That was less because like, oh no, we're running out of resources, and more just like, yeah, these it's like a hat on a hat. It was like there's too much in one spot. You're just blowing through the game.
I'm blowing through the game, y'all.
So, to step back from Obduction into more tech-centric question, Rad asks, what are your thoughts on adding an in-game timer visible on save or overall to your new Unreal-based game? Speedrunners would like to know.
You know, I'm not really involved in the speedrunning community at all, although I do watch YouTube reruns of them. I think they're really interesting. Are the timers typically baked into the game? I thought those timers were overlays developed by speedrunners. I wasn't
think
aware of timers being kind of like built
You're
into
talking about
the
for
game.
save games specifically? Is that what the? Can you?
To display on the save
Yeah,
game?
I got no additional context.
What was
Okay.
the wording of the question?
What are your thoughts on adding an in-game timer visible on the save or overall?
Oh, okay, I see.
I read that as like, you know, your save game is like you're this long into the game.
I mean, yeah, I guess we could.
Wouldn't be hard to add.
I gotta pump this, don't I?
Yes.
Oh.
I still love the sphere chop thing, like the conceit of the spherical chunks. We still get people sending us stuff from Twitter or, you know, Reddit where it's like a picture of weird spherical holes and things and being like, oh, you know, Obduction, sphere chop, love it. I hate this handle though. So goofy.
Whee!
So goofy. That's not how gas pumps work.
Oh, it's going again.
Well, so let's ask a spicy question and make Hannah answer questions while she's trying to solve puzzles too. This is from an anonymous person. Why is it so time-consuming to release one of your games, such as Obduction and soon Firmament, on PlayStation? I'm wondering if that's something Cyan and Sony work in tandem to accomplish. I'm honestly curious and not playing the blame game. Thanks.
That's actually a really good question, because I think a lot of people think, wait, why can't you just push the button that says also publish PlayStation, you know, boop.
It could be due to many factors. The particularly tricky part is just that both Obduction and Firmament support both 2D and VR gameplay. So we have to go through two whole different sets of requirements effectively that I actually can't speak about publicly. It's just a sorry, one sec. Here we go. There are just a lot of requirements to ship a game on a console like PlayStation for good reasons, because they want quality and they want to make sure builds are stable, but there's definitely more overhead for a developer than, say, Steam submission.
Yeah, Steam is kind of, for lack of a better description, it's the Wild West of publishing. You kind of, you know, developers can kind of do what they want, and as long as the game generally works and isn't breaking any laws, Steam is like, yep, just get it out there, sell it to people. But when you talk about a platform holder like PlayStation or you know, Xbox or Nintendo, any of the I guess platform holder is the only word that comes to mind. They have additional requirements, and they're all different. And each platform it's like learning a whole new you know, way of testing and giving submissions, and how the storefronts work, and all the bells and whistles you need to take care of so that they're satisfied on their end, and that is time consuming.
Yeah, and additionally, just also getting the game to run on the console is a beast in itself.
Yeah,
so.
because there's hardware, you know, changes, and so sometimes you'll get like the worst bugs. You can speak to this more than I can, but we get bugs all the time where it's like, this bug only happens on this piece of hardware with this specific set of circumstances, and here are the crazy repro steps, and sometimes those things are hard to chase down. You know. Oh, Cecil.
CW.
C-dub.
C-dubs.
C-dubs. I don't think I realized until after we shipped this that CW also stands for Cyan Worlds. I did not get the joke until after we shipped the game. I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't know that was the point.
I don't know if it was intentional, but I would suspect I would suspect that it wasn't not on there was some intention there. I don't know. We would have to ask Rand and Rawa. Bad time to be arriving here.
I'm very proud of the subtitle work I did on this game, everybody. This is my one contribution to this area. Actually, that's not true. I refactored the code that played CW's videos.
You got any more of those spicy questions?
I got all kinds of questions. That was maybe one of the spicier ones. Well, you know, here's a spicy question. The problem is it's directed to me specifically.
Even better.
So I guess now that I've said that, Jesse Ververt asks, will the Myst books ever be reprinted? I love the Book of Atris, but the other books are hard to get in the Netherlands. And the answer to that question is yes, absolutely. We are in the process right now of making that happen. And the best I can tell you at this point in terms of a timeline is, unfortunately, is soon. We are actively working on it, but boy, you know, the logistics of bringing things to the real world and then sending them to people, it's complicated, y'all. It is not easy. And you know, as Eric and Hannah said, we are a small team. We're scrappy. We all wear 19 hats. So we're excited to get them out there. It is front burner stuff. Soon we are going to get those to you. So that's my speech. I don't know, anything y'all want to add? Did I miss something?
No.
All right, fair enough.
I've been thinking about rereading the books lately, just for funsies. That's unrelated to actually, you know, getting the new versions out, but.
On a less spicy note, iWonk asks, what advice would you give aspiring game developers?
Maybe
Guess it depends on the kind of advice.
check out restaurant management, maybe.
Watch The Bear and then don't go into restaurant management.
It's a fun career and also a painful career.
Can be, yeah.
A lot of people I know who are developers are their own biggest critics. So be kind to yourself. Inevitably, you just want to make the thing, and you should be making the thing that you want to make. So ignore the haters is what I'm trying to say, and just do what you want to do. Is that good advice? That's
pretty decent
great advice.
Yeah.
Great advice.
Let me see. For game development in general, yeah, I mean, just learn as much as you can. There's so much stuff to learn, and there's lots of bad information out there. And honestly, the best way to learn is just do it. Start. Like the best game developers I know are the ones who can sort of spot the landmines, you know, from a distance. You're like, ooh, watch out for that. There's a landmine over there. Don't step on that. But the only way you learn that stuff is by stepping on a few landmines, and the best way to do that is just to start trying your best to make stuff. But to Hannah's point, you're gonna step on some landmines, and so just don't beat yourself up when you do. That's part of the process.
Yeah. Start small too.
Yep. Start small. That's the best advice. Start small. Control your scope. Yep.
Oh, for a second I was like, do I remember this puzzle? I do.
I'm glad you remember this game, because I'd be just bumbling around. I bet I wouldn't even be through the swing bridge yet.
I mean, to be fair, y'all were asking for hints for Myst on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
That was painful to watch.
That's why I'm glad you're driving.
That was. Oh, did I not go back?
I make them. I don't remember how to play them.
Must not have gone back far enough.
So Derek asks, for the Riven remake, will new music by Robin Miller be composed for any new areas of the game?
I don't really know if that's something we can answer right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
I guess you'll find out.
I will say this is non-definitive, but I will say that there have been some discussions, but yeah, time will tell. Time will tell.
Jordan asks, this is a little left field from what we've been playing, but Jordan asks, would Cyan ever do an updated version of Cosmic Osmo?
Technically, we already did. We made Hexile, but nobody can buy it because it was released. That was it. That was kind of a joke because I don't actually think we need to hunt that down. But yeah, I don't know.
Not anytime soon. How's that?
It's not on the radar right
Yeah,
now.
we've got other like really cool stuff that we're trying to work on, like the Ribbon remake.
Graham in the chat shouts out, Manhole VR.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Maybe that's our survival horror game.
Ooh, that's freaky. That's like an LSD trip.
Yeah. We do Cosmic Cosmo, the horror experience.
Yeah. Did I not press the button?
I was like, you set the controller down. Are you done? Are you just noping out? Is it going? Did we break the game?
Oh, I wonder if he actually wants you to go through the dome before he talks with you. He might come to the door and be like, I told you what to do. Well, all right, we know what to do next. We don't. Who needs CW?
So Lloyd's tip is you can activate the switches from inside the cart. They haven't done enough to talk again.
He's talking about the levers. Gotcha. Yeah.
Always thank your support professionals.
Yes. Thank you, Lloyd.
Lloyd.
Has anyone in the chat played or not played Obduction? Who is here
are we
right
s-
now
are
and
we
just
spoil-
like coming along for the ride?
How many people are we spoiling the game for right now?
Whee!
Has Lloyd had to ban anybody from chat yet?
I don't know. Shadowmane's never played it.
Oh my god. Sorry if this is making anyone feel ill, by the way. You know, maybe I'll just like let me face that
Bob
direction.
Builder
That would
hasn't
be-
played his.
Shadow Main is one of our programmers. For
Hilarious.
anybody who does not know,
Yes, yes.
as Brandon.
Ace will buy soon. Milestone purchased on the list.
Oh? Did someone just purchase it?
Shadow Main lies. Hilarious. Let's see.
We should probably be like talking about the development of the game while we play
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know.
But Hannah's speed running this thing.
You know, honestly, I'm approaching the point where I'm like, do I remember what to do? I know I have to get through the dome. I think I gotta just head that way in the minecart.
When you first started at Cyan, you were in QA, right?
I was.
Did you test this game, or what did you test?
No.
Okay.
Oh man, I tested Stone Ship
Oh, wow. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
and Bug Chucker a little bit.
Ooh.
I mainly tested.
If anybody asks if we're going to do a sequel to either of those games, can you just ban them? That's a question for Lloyd.
I'm pretty sure that I mainly tested Riven for iPad and Myst for iOS at the time. At that point, I thought I could speedrun Riven the fastest in the world. Like, that's how often I had played
Wow.
Riven. It was, like, insane. Yeah. And when you started, you actually got a rejection letter first, didn't you?
I did. I have it on the wall of my office.
That cracks me up.
Yeah, that's gonna be there forever. Yeah, this was 2000. I think and then I got a call a few months later, and they had me come out for an interview, and they hired me, and I think they forgot that I had been rejected, which was fine.
Oh my gosh. Too funny. Oh God.
This is from an anonymous asker. The story of Obduction is incredible. A TV series prequel starting when the first seed transports the mining town all the way to the events leading into the game would be awesome, kind of like Lost. Have you considered such a spin-off of content in the Obduction universe?
We have never formally tried to pursue anything Hollywood related or linear storytelling related with Obduction.
Mm-hmm.
Not that wouldn't be cool, but also we can't even seem to find enough traction getting Dunny universe stuff, Myst projects off the ground. I think it would be hard to imagine that somebody would be like, but that Obduction, let's call Hollywood, let's get that going.
Yeah. That's true. I wish Hollywood would be more interested.
Yeah, if Hollywood's watching, can you tell them to?
Thanks, Hollywood.
I still like that little bucket ride thing.
I know. I was just thinking about all of the good times I had engineering support for this, and then I think we eventually just, like every other game developer, used the door blueprint to move it.
Half the things in all our games are door
Doors.
blueprints because they need to just move or rotate. And
I think we finally renamed them to movers in future games,
Makes
but
more sense.
it does crack me up.
I love the aesthetic, and it's all over Hunrath and other parts of the game, but we called it the kludginess, right? Everything is just repurposed garbage and other things, and they happen to have a landfill, a dump, a junkyard that happened to get teleported here, and so they have all these resources they use. But I love the aesthetic. That was part of the identity of this age in particular from the very beginning.
Maybe slightly spicy. Any thoughts on releasing an AI upscaled version of 2D Riven at some point?
What's interesting about that is that everybody wants, in context to this new Riven, they heard about what the new Riven's going to be like for the first time at Mysterium, really. and I think some people are wondering if they'll still have access to the original ribbon.
Or they're apprehensive that this new version will like kill 2D ribbon.
Yeah, and that's very much not the case. So I think we're looking at a lot of ways to kind of keep the original one not necessarily alive, because it'll still be alive and you can still buy it, but just make it like more accessible on modern systems.
More contemporary, a contemporary sort of re-release sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably all we can say.
Yeah.
At current. But we're not looking to leave 2D ribbon in the dust, but no additional details at this time. Yeah.
And I just want to clarify the kind of AI that person's probably speaking about in their question isn't AI like Midjourney. This is something likely some software that's only been trained on ribbon assets. This isn't like, you know, repurposing or modifying.
Theoretically.
Yes, this is a theoretical thing. So in theory, this kind of software would look at the original assets and be like, I think I know how to up-res this based on the way the original assets
on the
look.
thousands of other renders in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically.
But
theoretically, that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically. Got to memorize all those.
You know what's funny about this? I can't remember which one's important. Do you remember?
No.
Oh, man. Yes, see, that's the thing about Cyan games, y'all. Like, almost every detail has a meaning, whether it's like environmental storytelling or a puzzle itself. And if you've really played Cyan games, you'd know this is a part of a puzzle just because it's like, oh,
yeah.
Why else would you put?
I do love though how people will ask us questions about the details of puzzle, like, oh, you must know the origin of this, or what's the code here, what's the hidden,
right?
And it's like, if there was one thing I could convey to fans of our games, it's that, like, for the most part, those of us who build these games don't know the details of the puzzles because we're focused on, you know, building the space. And if you were to ask me a question about like, oh, how is this thing built, or what's the shader doing here, I could talk for hours. But if someone says, why was what's the code here, what's the significance of these numbers, it's like, I don't know.
Right. Well said.
That support fella asks, in Murray, the jungle world, there's a wounded alien who used to point to a screen that showed a number. Why was that number removed? Will it be put back?
I wish I had a good answer here. I know there was something that got tweaked or changed or broke. I can't remember what state things went.
It was either something was too easy or too hard. And I think I think it was because people were missing a main story beat in that area. So with the alien not pointing to the number, you then had to figure out the number by doing something else, and that forced you to see a main story beat. I believe is why.
Yeah.
I believe
that would be a Rand and Rawa question more than any, and because they handled the game design, like the narrative and game and puzzle portions of this. So we can only give you a bad answer with no info.
It seems like to put a fine point on the last question though, will it be put back? The answer is no.
Probably not.
Yeah,
I think it was
not.
changed intentionally. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Good luck.
Yeah.
If anyone happens to be in the chat who knows the code here, or unless is it randomized? I can't remember.
I don't think it is. Well, we'll figure it out. I think it may be in CW's workshop. Another 15 minutes has lapsed, so I'll just quickly say this again.
She's so
Eric and I are... I am a professional. Eric and I are here playing Obduction for you all in support of the current Humble Bundle opportunity that's available. Link in the description below. where we have all of the Myst series games, including this game, Obduction, available for $20, 20 US dollars. You can choose how much of your purchase goes toward charity. And the charity we're supporting is Active Minds, which is a charity supporting the mental health of young adults. So thank you for your support. The link is in the description below. Save the children.
Huge thank you, by the way, for anybody who has picked up the bundle. I know I saw some people online saying, you know, they already have all the games, but they picked up the bundle anyway because they wanted to help a good cause.
Right.
So, seriously, thank you. That's pretty.
Thanks,
that's
everybody.
That's pretty rad.
Okay, I know what I'm doing.
So a bunch of people, Callum Dan Floyd, Wonky Potato Cookie, Tweak, only one tubing. I'm missing a few. Say it's the house number backwards.
Oh, right. And what's the house number?
Lazy.
I'll figure it out.
This is the part where
we're
normally
gonna go
I would.
all the way around.
Normally, I would hit the secret button on the keyboard that makes you fly, and I would just fly through the door or through the wall or whatever.
It's all good. I'll get to that.
Got time to do the puzzle?
Yeah, we've got time to do the puzzle. We'll show everybody. We'll show them.
Or Aiden Ryder actually put it in the chat if you just want me to tell you what it is. Or do you want to solve it?
You know what? Too late. I'm already halfway there.
There you go. Well, thanks anyway. But we're gonna solve it ourselves.
Yeah,
and by we, I
thank
mean
you.
Hannah.
Thank you all for your support. Eric's already bored. He's looking at his phone.
No, I was looking to see how
SMH.
many people are watching, and there's like 100 people, more than 100 people watching.
Oh wow!
So
Thanks everybody.
Thank you
This is
for
great.
watching us stumble through a game we don't know how to play.
Yeah, I love the dichotomy between Hunrath and the world beyond. Let's say I don't want to say too many spoilers, but
yeah,
it's cool stuff.
Lots of opportunity for striking imagery in this game. This was fun to put together.
All right, I'm gonna do two things. I'm gonna go through the wall also. Okay, 1436, 1436. I'm also gonna go this way.
Shortcut.
Hoverfish asks, bridges, domes, aerial tracks, maze, they all seem to be suspended in midair by some device that seems to interact with some energy. The maze even sends its tubes into the trees and rocks and cell walls. Do these devices use ambient energy of the cell to keep things in midair?
Are we talking about abduction
We
or
are,
something else?
we are talking about abduction.
A maze that has tubes running through it. I think you're gonna have to point us to
I need more info there.
where this is.
Yeah.
Eric and I just looking at each other like,
what?
who?
Is that a game we made?
Yeah. Oh.
Sounds like something we made.
It's locked.
Wah,
Frick, I
wah.
forgot to unlock that from the other side, everybody. I'm
Oh.
the worst. I'm the worst. It's fine.
Speedrun's ruined.
Speedrun is ruined. Okay. Well, actually, hold on.
The cables. Okay, so there are the cables suspended in midair to the
The bleeder.
the bleeder. So I'm starting to be like, oh, okay, that might be the maze. The maze with the pipes, I'm still not sure about.
These are the pipes, yeah.
There, I believe that the point of that device, that tower with the cables that are connected to the dome, is called the bleeder. And if I remember correctly, its purpose was to dissipate energy from the dome into the lake, essentially, that bleeds off energy. Hence the name the bleeder. So to answer your question, it's not like a power source so much as it is they've jury rigged the sphere dome itself to dissipate energy to prevent, I believe, the teleportation of the whole sphere. Which, of course, the player, I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
that's actually one thing I think we could have done a better job with, is explaining some of the the reasoning behind like the bleeder, because we talk about that all the time, but I never hear fans who play this talk about the bleeder because I don't think it was explained super well.
Yeah. I think
so-
actually when I do hear fans talk about it, they're like, what does
What
that
is
thing
that
do?
thing? Yeah. In fact, I don't know that I've ever seen a playthrough or anybody talk about it, but I did a whole visual effect where it will actually take the energy and like disperse it into the lake. It's a sweet like volumetric glow effect that lights up the lake. And I don't know that you ever get a really good vantage point to see it. So forward all of your complaints to Rand Miller at rand.com.net .org.
That's his website.
Yeah, that's his website. He couldn't decide on a suffix, so he got all of them.
Cortina asks, are there any plans in the works for a new entry into the Myst Uru Dunning world outside of remasters?
Yes. Affirmative.
Oh God.
Green means go.
Did you see that brief like load that happened? I think.
No.
I think it made the interior of Farley's house visible. Eric and I like to play our games and just like critique everything.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Everywhere.
But this whole playthrough, I'm just like, oh God, the
and it's
albedos
not
are
anyone's fault. It's just like we always see the like things we could have done better.
There's always things to fix.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Mofang. Like I'm watching these pages. I like these like completely rigid pages that turn. Like that's great. That's how paper
It's a nice
works.
like crisp, fresh yellow pad. You know, like you don't want to bend the pages. If you're a true yellow pad fan.
See, now that's a page turn. That's a little better. We did a little bend there.
Yeah.
We didn't do that with the yellow pads.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, here's a fun one. In your opinion, what is the scariest moment in all of the Myst series?
Okay. I remember when I was a child. So this is like
It's like 2 years
being
ago.
scared as a child. This was when I was 5, so that was 2 years ago. And I was watching my mom play Riven or Family Friend. And I remember they re-entered Gen's temple, I think like at the midpoint of the game before Gen was captured, but I think you had met Gen already. And his imager comes up in the throne kind of like viewer, and it's like a really big image of him kind of just like eyeing you, and then he disappears. That was freaky.
Freaked you out?
I didn't like that as a kid. Like that was scary.
For me, the scariest moment is when I'm playing a live stream a few days ago and I forget that you go to an age and then you're stuck in that age until you solve it, and I don't want to do the puzzle, and then you get fans on the live stream to tell you what the solutions are, and that saves your butt.
Definitely a terrifying moment.
Oh. Everyone's supposed to go like, oh yeah.
You solved
that's
it. So one thing we did in this game that we haven't done in our more recent games is actually give the can you go back in front of the projector?
Yeah.
Giving the player a physical like representation, which and you can see that it's a little bit jank in the animation, and we didn't put.
I'm doing this on purpose.
Yeah. You're making it look super jank. But when you're out in the sunshine and you're wandering around, there's a certain something that it adds. There's a like your brain when you're walking in the real world out and it's sunset and you see your own shadow out in front of you, it grounds you in a way that I think when you're here and you're walking through when the sun's at your back and you're walking forward and you can see like a long shadow out in front of you, there's just something about it that feels right, that you don't have that there when you're when we don't do that.
There's something kind of wrong with this model though, because they look like they have like back problems. Like the back is like, you see that right there, like bends
got
pretty
some
far to
scoliosis
the
going on.
side. Yeah,
Yeah,
like she
yeah.
needs to see the doctor.
Lloyd actually says there have been so many complaints about how the feet weren't connected to anything.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Some of that is it's because we don't have a representation of your torso or anything, because that would have been a lot more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually tried that for a brief time on Firmament. We had a physical representation that you could look down and see your legs, and we ended up moving away from it. Just there's a lot, that adds a lot of complexity.
Mm-hmm.
This is a kind of a fun one, and I suspect that I can answer it. I don't know. I'll give it a shot, and then you guys tell me if I'm wrong. It says, could an official Myst-themed escape room be something that could be created and licensed out to various escape room companies? A real-life Myst would be incredible, and kind of being involved on the licensing end of things, I'd say let's talk. If you're interested in doing something like that, then reach out. We would love to talk about it.
I will also color that and say we had already done that. And we might actually still be in agreement with them.
Yeah, I'm not
so
sure.
I'm not sure, Jeff. If
I'm not sure. I think that may
Yeah.
have. I think that may have dissipated. But there was a company that reached out to us to seriously talk about licensing, specifically for an escape room, and that is absolutely something that we all thought was really, really cool. And just a matter of hammering out an agreement that works. But
Yeah.
if the question is would we consider it, the answer is absolutely
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. I think that would be blast. Speaking of which, this is a little bit of a change of subject, or not really. It's kind of on the backs of that. I recently got to visit Omega Mart, which is a Meow Wolf experience, and maybe you can help me explain what the heck Meow Wolf is for people who don't know.
like a surreal, physical, environmental storytelling experience.
Yeah,
That is kind of like an escape room, but it's not like challenging like an escape room. It's more like you learn about the story of the environment while you're there.
It's like a mixture between a art installation slash escape room slash ARG, alternate reality game, and I was at this place for a couple hours, and I left with the impression that I wanted to go back and spend an entire day there because it was so dense. And it's the kind of stuff that we build digitally, they did physically, and they put game content in there. And apparently, it's hours and hours and hours of game content in real life, which is awesome. So if you're anywhere near a Meow Wolf exhibit, huge recommend. Go check it out.
Indeed.
There you go. Unlock this door.
There we go. What kind of bugs me about this store is that it doesn't appear to have a lock, really. Like you just click
Looks
it
like
and it opens from the side.
Well, and you should totally be able to reach your arm in there and just like from the outside.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Yeah.
Will we ever get to explore the living spaces on Myst Island? We must be getting to the bottom of the live stream. We're starting to take funny questions.
Atris wrecks the toilet every time he uses it, so I don't think he'd want anyone exploring
He
his
probably
living
needs
space.
to talk to a dietitian. No, I don't want to say no, because I will say this. I think the best way to answer that question is like this. In the current incarnation of Myst, probably no, right? Yeah, we're not going to go back into, say, the Myst that we just released a couple years back and add living spaces or anything like that, just because that's not true to the original game, and that incarnation of Myst was really meant to be a revisualization of the original game with the original puzzles and the original storytelling and all that. There have been sort of like thought experiments over the years that we've done about retelling that story in a dramatically different way, right? You know, like instead of it being so sort of whimsical and surreal, what if there was a you know, a darker take on it or a more serious take on it? And I don't want to say never, because it's entirely possible that you know, especially if anything ever happens with the sort of linear storytelling side of things, there may be a market for a retelling of that in a new way. And my guess is that if we were to try to retell it in a new way, especially in a more realistic way, that it would probably make sense to you know, to add those things, but the game would be unrecognizable. You know, it wouldn't even be the Myst that people know. It would be a dramatic rethink of the whole story.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I still want horror Myst, where it's like Slender Man on Myst Island. And maybe in the living quarters are some white pages you need to collect before Slender Man gets you.
Up in
Yes, I did. Slender Atris.
Slender Atris followed you around the game as you explored the ages.
Yeah. Forgot how to reach the tiki from here.
Can't you just hit it from here?
Let's see.
Graham asks, do you have any personal dream project ideas you'd love to create in the long term of which you'd author the narrative? I mean,
personal projects.
Spoilers.
Can you re-ask the question? I want to make sure I'm hearing it correctly.
Do you have any personal dream project ideas you'd love to create in the long term of which you'd author the narrative?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like all of our potential future games fit sort of that description. There are some projects that we've had floating around for years that I would definitely put in. God, that plane looks cool.
I know, right? Was that Zeke?
Zeke made that, and he just killed it. It's so cool. There's a handful of projects that I would put in that category. They're sort of like dream projects that I've wanted to do for a while. One of them, this gives nothing away, but one of them is one of the things that we're beginning early stages of actively pursuing, which I'm excited about. There's one that I know that the fan base has heard of it over the years. There's a game idea called Lattice that is on my list of dream projects I'd love to do someday. But, you know, one thing at a time.
Riven remake first.
Riven remake first. Which honestly, that is one of those dream projects. Like,
yeah, I hope you all know how freaking cool this game's gonna be.
Riven is like I mean, I started at this company in 2000, which was just a couple years after the release of Riven. But I feel like, you know, I've been living in the shadow of Riven my entire career, and it's always been this like high watermark of quality and storytelling and world building, and not until fairly recently, you know, the last several years, did I think we would actually have a chance to soak in it and you know, reinvent it in a way, and it's been so cool.
It's been very cool. Yeah.
Dream project for sure.
All right, we have about 1 minute left.
Seriously, that was like an hour.
Seriously, that was like an hour. So, so I'm gonna ask one last question, and then Hannah can do a quick pitch, and you guys can say goodbye, and we can wrap this up. So the final question, it's an anonymous one, is for both of you. Is there anything you learned from your time at Tekla that you carried over to Cyan?
It's a great question.
I'm thinking because I learned a lot at Tekla, and I'm trying to think of like the most valuable thing to share. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution. Try not to overthink a problem, just get it done. With that said, don't do it the wrong way necessarily.
That's
that's really
that's a good one. I learned a lot about different ways of thinking about game design and sort of prioritizing certain things over others and realizing that there are things you can leave till the end. Focus on the things that matter and don't get lost in the weeds, because it's very easy when you're developing games to focus on minutia that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I think identifying the things that really do matter and focus on that first and get that working, and then come in later and get the other stuff taken care of.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another thing I think Tekla, is fortunately able to do is really work on making a game shine. And sometimes that is really what matters to people. I think learning a different style of development and priority for development was like really interesting and refreshing in ways. So,
and there's also recognizing that they do things differently than we do, and that's okay. I think it's just we try and ship games on a much brisker pace, and doing so keeps us alive, keeps us running, keeps us with the sort of resources we have. And they take longer, and arguably their stuff comes out a little more polished because they are spending much more time on it. But it changes the risk, the burn rate and the resources and the head count and all that stuff. Just a different way of doing things.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
But we love everybody over there.
Any last-minute questions, Jeff? Before
I would say let's
Bonus
go
question.
ahead and wrap it
All
on
Okay.
up. Hannah, do you want to make a final pitch?
Thank you for joining us while we played Obduction. I hope it intrigued you to play it again if you had already played it. And if you haven't already played it, I'm not sorry at all for spoiling it for you. I guess,
Well, we barely chipped into the...
Yeah,
there's so much more to see.
This was not even a quarter of the game.
We didn't do a single sphere swap other than the beginning of the game.
Oh, man.
We didn't show the main... See, we didn't even show the main game mechanic. No, it's too late now.
Yeah, too late
I've
now.
already switched off of the game.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us. This stream was in support of the current Humble Bundle opportunity, which is running right now. And you can purchase all of the Myst series games for only $20, including Obduction, $20 total. And that will allow you to help contribute to Active Minds, which is a charity that supports the mental health of young adults, in addition to suicide and prevention awareness tactics. So we're thrilled to be supporting them. It's a cause very near and dear to our hearts here at Cyan, even personally. So we really appreciate your support. The link to the Humble Bundle is in the description below. They come, I believe all of them come entirely with Steam keys, in case anyone's curious about the kind of key they receive. You can buy the bundle and gift it to a friend even, if you already own Myst or Obduction or any of the other Myst games.
I think you can gift individual keys, is that correct?
You can also gift, so you can send also the full bundle to someone, or you can redeem it yourself and send your friends the individual keys. It's up to you,
So
really, how you'd like to do that.
If you don't have Myst yet and you want that for yourself, but you're like, oh, I already got Obduction, and you can give it to your great aunt or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you again for joining us.
Real quick before
I
have a question / comment, which is, and this is for Jeff too. We are, hopefully you can tell that we're trying to put more energy into sort of this live stream thing. We had wanted to start doing this, 3 years ago, and then the COVID sort of happened and put that on ice, and we got wrapped up into these big projects. If this kind of nonsense, if anybody who's watching this or watches it later is interested in more of this, please let us know. Please let Jeff know. Please tweet and message us and comment. And also, if instead of watching us play one of our own games, let us know what else would be interesting. If you want to learn more about the development process of these things, if you want to learn about, or you want to watch us play another game, we got plenty of folks on the team who I'm sure would love to fire up some games we're fans of, and especially if it's Hannah keeps wanting to do like horror content, so we could.
Or Eric and I can play The Witness, which I worked
Oh.
on for, I want to say, 2 months of my life, and
would-
Eric worked on for years.
I would do that in a heartbeat. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Or if you
the
want
chat seemed to love that idea of us doing more and more and more.
Yeah. So
Okay.
seriously, I'm not joking. Hassle Jeff, hassle me, hassle us online.
Yeah. Tell us
yeah.
also what you maybe like didn't like about this too. If it was just like so boring,
Yeah.
or if there are things we could talk about. If you do want us playing our games, if you want us talking about other things too, we can recite Shakespeare while we live stream next
Cannot.
if that's really what floats your boat. So
Can you bring
we
your?
cannot.
You should bring your full size bass in and.
Maybe I could serenade everybody with an upright bass I haven't touched in seriously 4 years.
Oh no.
You know, your support, maybe we'll start, you know, like letting people donate to the live stream, Jeff, because we might need a new couch. I'm 5'4" and I'm like barely tall enough to have my feet rest on the floor of this couch.
Right.
So help fund a new couch
New
for
couch
us.
Patreon. You heard
Hashtag
it here
new
first.
couch. New couch Patreon.
Jeff, is there anything you want to ask or throw in there?
Nothing I need to add. Thanks so much, everybody, for your support. I will look forward to the flood of emails that I'm going to be getting from Eric's call. And yeah, we will be doing this again soon. This is definitely something that, as Eric said, we've been aspiring to do for years, and the pandemic kind of caught us, and we all went home for a while. Now we're back. We're here. We're planning on making this kind of a cornerstone of our activities.
Yeah.
So
And-
expect
and
to see more of these.
Especially with Riven in the works now, and
Yeah.
we've been really candid about what we're doing and what we're working on. So if you guys want like sort of hot off the press, behind the scenes looks at stuff or whatever,
Uh-oh,
that could be
Eric's,
fun. We'll see what we can come up with.
All right. On that note,
Support the
happy
Humble Bundle.
Friday,
Humble Bundle.
everybody. Support
Friday.
support the Humble Bundle.
And smash that like button. If you're watching the stream right now, I'm gonna be so disappointed in you if you don't hit that like button right now.
Oh
I'm
my
watching you. I'm
gosh.
watching you. Press it
Wow,
right now.
no
and
pressure,
then
everybody.
Press the subscribe button. Oh, there's pressure, Jeff. There's
Oh,
pressure.
wow. All right. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank
everybody.
you so much.